All right, my name is Riley Kozel, and this is my final film analysis. I chose the movie Nightcrawler by Dan Gilroy, and this is for Mr. Bones' class 4A to be more specific. So, a summary and brief discussion of the movie as a whole is that it starts out with our main character, Lewis. He's stealing things from a construction site to sell it to another. And he's in look of a job. He's in search for a job, doesn't know what kind of job, but he has a certain unique skill set and mindset that he thinks would be great for every single job that he tries to get. He stumbles upon one night driving home, at least we think he's going home, to there's a car accident and he's like so enthralled by it. And he comes upon this new job of filming these things, filming accidents, home invasions, anything with gore. And he starts selling them to a news station. And basically, to get more money, he goes to higher lengths to get what the director calls his money shot. So some movie characters and their roles within the movie. We have Lewis Bloom. He's our main character. He's the one that's filming everything. He's the one causing up all this drama, basically. We have Nina. She is the actual. She believes in Lewis until he becomes a little bit too much for her. She is the overall director, seer of the KWLA news station. So when he has a new film, he goes to her and she sees that and she basically approves of it. So Rick is Louis Bloom's first hire. And I say hire very loosely because he doesn't pay him the first few nights. And then when he does get paid, it's only $30 a night. Mind you, he is a homeless man. He's about 20 years old, I'd say like early 20s. And basically, he is hired on to help with Lewis's job. So some key devices used to help develop the film and tie into the theme, The Beast Within. So I have four key devices. So the first one is going to be low-key lighting. Low-key lighting is found in like those like thriller horror movies. It creates an ominous or mysterious effect and just makes things look scarier. Gives you like that uneasy feeling. We have diegetic and non-diegetic sound. So diegetic is obviously the sound that the characters can hear, and then non-diegetic sound is the sound that characters cannot hear. Non-diegetic can be like scary music or music that's just in general that they can't hear to give the scene the tone that the director would like it to have. And then for diegetic sound, the scene that I won't be analyzing, but one I'd like to mention is in the beginning when Lewis first finds his unique interest for this type of job. We have like ambulance sirens, there's like people yelling and screaming, people dying, and you just see Lewis like smiling off into the distance. And it's this really creepy kind of scene. But we don't know anything really about Lewis yet. It's way too early on in the movie. My fourth one will be eye level angles. Anytime in the movie where we're at an eye level shot or an angle with Lewis in particular, it's kind of creepy. I want to tie that back into the Beast Within because there's a specific scene where Nina got mad at him and he got mad at her. They had this whole they got in this whole like, argument. And when he's home, it pans to his empty living room with his TV on, playing either a news station or something's on the TV, and then it goes to the next shot where he's in this bathroom and he has one of those cabinets where it's a mirror on the front and we have that eye level angle of us staring him right on his reflection, right eye level, and he's angry, he's yelling at himself, and I have a picture of that on the next slide actually. And he gets so angry he like opens the thing and then slams it shut and it shatters, the mirror shatters, and we still see him staring his reflection in the shattered pieces of the glass, which also ties to the Beast Within. You never know what's on the outside. It's kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Basically, that is what I'm tying it to. And we have the picture of the scene I just analyzed for you. And then I love this quote. The quote is from early on in the movie, and people don't think anything about it until later on. And I kind of tied it in because I just loved the quote so much. The quote is Lewis talking to Rick. Lewis says, "Want to know what fear stands for?" Rick then replies, "What?" Where Lewis says, "False evidence appearing real." Now we have this false evidence appearing real, and it really ties into the movie with the news station and Lewis like cutting and editing the film that he has and then giving it to the news station, and then like they're basically feeding everyone lies. So false evidence appearing real. I really love the quote because he's basically giving himself away without giving himself away. It's foreshadowing, but I love it. And so I'm going to play the scene that I think ties in the most with that quote and with what I'm trying to portray as the beast within.
It's the crash, all of it, now.
It's KWLA property.
It's evidence.
Of what?
I got a cop near death in the hospital. 3 dead, 4 wounded, and a dozen major crimes stretching a mile a third. This tape is evidence.
It's news footage bought and paid for from an independent contractor.
And how do you think he got it?
If there's an issue, speak to him.
Don't get in the way of this.
Unless you have a judge's order, we're going within 4 minutes.
Hey, isn't that him? Camera 1, stay centered up. Camera 2, we'll do a zoom out.
Joel's got a source on the task force who says they found drugs at the Granada Hills house. Cocaine in wrapped packages, hidden in crawl spaces over 50 pounds, and he confirmed it with an investigator at the scene. It wasn't a home invasion, it was a drug robbery.
Give it to the noon crew.
This is news.
It detracts from the story.
It is the story.
The story is urban crime creeping into the suburbs. That's the story.
Jesus, you sound like Lou.
10 seconds to back.
I think Lou is inspiring all of us to reach a little higher.
So you can see in this scene, I'm going to analyze it really quick, where the false evidence appearing real really hits hard in this scene. This man comes in, gives her the true story of what actually happened, and she kind of just pushes it off. Says, give it to the noon crew. That doesn't involve her story currently. She wants to have, like, put it as it was the home invasion. They caught the guys. There was this whole car chase. That's what she wants. She doesn't care about that it was involved with drugs. She really just pushes it off. So they're going to feed their audience like false evidence appearing real, but the audience doesn't know it's false evidence appearing real. What it is it's to instill fear. It's to instill fear. And I just love how that ties in with that. I'll let the rest of the scene play.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sting it. Mics. Dissolve.
And now that the scene is over, I would just like to tie that in once again to the theme, the beast within. The beast within applies to a lot of characters in this movie, specifically, obviously, Lewis and Nina. Nina goes through a lot of character development where Lewis is kind of, there's something wrong with him the whole time. And it's not like broad enough to be known to like the characters, but to the audience, we can see it, we can sense it, we can feel it. We have those senses for a reason. We use them in our everyday life and with movies especially. But Nina goes through a lot of character development, and it's only caused because Lewis is manipulating her the entire movie. And so she finally comes to this point where you wouldn't expect her to say that. You really wouldn't after watching the movie. And then she says, like, give it to the noon crew. Like, that's not a part of my story. And then she goes into saying how Lou is inspiring us. She's changed. That's her beast within. She's like broken. She's now a new person who now yearns for this stuff as much as Lou does. Which I think is almost interesting how originally when I was watching the movie, I only thought that it could be applied to Lewis. And then upon rewatching different scenes, I realized that it was actually both of them. Hers wasn't controlled. Hers wasn't on her own terms. Hers was almost forced, whereas Lou, like I said before, has been that way the whole time, which is really interesting to think about. But that will conclude my final film analysis project on the movie Nightcrawler. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I did a good job.